Tezvav, page 207. Page 207. The Mechaber says a cooked item that's made of the chameshas aminim, made of grain, that if you eat a substantial amount of it, kovei asudolov, you have to eat it in the sukkah. Meaning, if it's bread, it's what? More than a beya. But if it's grain, like mazonos, you have to be kovei asuda. What's kovei asuda? Rotzoloma she'ochlam b'chabura. Either you're eating it in a group, that's kovei asuda. O she'ochel shir choshek ve'asudos b'zeh v'lo dai she'ochel ma'at yosem michabeya. Come up b'pas. Eating more than 2 kazesim of cake is not called kvi asuda. But he's saying something interesting. If you put out a plate of cake for people to sit, to socialize, that's called kaviyus, even though it's less. Even though it's less, it's less than a beya. That's a setting. For that, you should be in the sukkah. But and if he says that if you're by yourself, it's not that setting. Even though you're eating more than a beya, that's not enough to obligate you in sukkah. If it's a grain product, I am Mogen Avram Sheik Shal Zeh. That's the Mechaber. Mogen Avram is difficult. The dato dino mamish kmo b'pas. He says the Mogen Avram holds that cake is like pas. You want to have a piece of what we call lokshen pudding, lokshen kugel, right? It's grain. So he holds if the piece is larger than a beya, you have to eat it in the sukkah. You're obligated to eat in the sukkah. There's me'ah ma'at chayev b'sukkah, not as a chumrah. You're obligated. That's the Mogen Avram. He says, however, regarding leish basukah, das achron bein levorech rak sheyikval of suda. But for the brocha, the achron, they don't agree with the Mogen Avram. Mogen Avram says a grain product is no different than bread. If it's more than a beyo, you say leish basukah. But the achronim say, even though that's the Mogen Avram's position, but to take it to the point that you say a brocha, you shouldn't say a brocha leish basukah. Because the Mechaber says not this way. Even though the Ramo says anything other than a grain product is not called a kviyas, however, the Achrom say that meat, fish, and cheese, you should not eat outside of a sukkah if it's a kviyas. Dafka b'kviyus, you're eating it as a meal. Very often people don't wash a whole week, right? They're on a protein diet, right? Some people here know that. Protein diet. Fish, vegetables, and meat. No carbohydrates. Okay? But that's the meal. They say that's called kviyus. You should eat that in the sukkah. Av shlobik kviyus elach miklau. But there's no question. But let's say you're in a situation you have no sukkah. You have no sukkah. It's a tremendous inconvenience. You have to travel, or you have to impose yourself on other people. So you can rely on this leniency that as long as you're not eating grain, you can eat it outside the sukkah. No bracha. Everybody agrees no bracha, for sure. The way we'll see later. Person, let's say, he goes into the sukkah, wants to have a cup of coffee and a piece of cake. Let's say he eats breakfast, and he's eating breakfast. Now he's having a piece of cake with a cup of coffee, and it's like a Danish. You say a bracha, say leisha basukah. So the Mishna Berura will say later, even though it's not so simple, a little bit, and you stay in the sukkah. Because there's a whole question: what about you going to sukkah just to relax? Some say even that you say a bracha. So if you're just going in just to eat the cake and leave, then it's not simple. That you would say a bracha. But if you're going to stay a little bit longer to relax in the sukkah, or to, let's say, learn in the sukkah, or to read a book in the sukkah, so then you're living in the sukkah. So that, combined with that, it's sufficient to say the bracha, leisha basukah. What? So that's the bracha. Yeah, but we don't. If you just go in the sukkah just to be there, you're not eating. We don't say a bracha. So I'm saying, so here, if you're reading and you're staying, combination of both. No. No. If you're eating something substantial, but if we're going to have a cup of coffee and a piece of cake, so we just discussed, you have to eat a shear, you have to have a kviyus. You can have a kazayas of cake. It's not a kvius. Or you can eat two kazayas of cake. It's not a kvius. So that's discussion. That's what we're discussing here. So what do? You're not going to eat a pound of cake, right? But the minig is that what? Maybe it is. Let's say that's your breakfast. Person every morning for breakfast, he has a cup of coffee and a piece of cake. He doesn't eat more. So for him, that's his meal, right? Maybe that is a kvius. So it's not simple. So the Mishna Berura says later, we'll see. You should stay a little bit longer and do something else there. Relax, read a book, read a sefer, whatever you do. So in conjunction, combination between two, that's called, you're in the sukkah. That's sufficient to require a bracha. No, you have to eat more than a bay of bread. If you don't eat more than a bay of bread, you don't say a bracha. Leishu basukkah. Unless it also, person like that, he doesn't eat more than a bay of bread. Eat a crumb, you have to say a motzi. Right? To say a bracha, to wash with al-Qul you have to eat a bayah. Right? During the year, you only eat exais of bread. You don't say al-Qul when you wash for bread. You have to wash for bread, but you don't say al-Qul. A bayah. You have to eat minimally a bayah. Two kazaysa.
Why is the bracha reliant on eating? I mean, the mitzvah isn't to eat in a sukkah. It's just to live.
Because that is the main part of the main thing.
There are 100 other things you could do in a sukkah that would be considered living in a sukkah more than eating.
The primary part of a sukkah is achilu shtiyah, eating.
Why?
No, the first one usually. I mean, you didn't eat prior to that. No, definitely not. No. We'll see later. No, definitely not. The question is, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Says the question. Maybe you won't fall asleep. Let's say you always, in a minute, you're out like a light. Okay, we'll see why. The tzorch sukkah. He says that any of the chamish zaminim, we'll discuss it now, that if you kaveh suda on it, piece of noodle pudding, cake, or whatever it is, you require the sukkah. Pirush midina al kein tzorch levorach leish basukah. Kosmor maimon mordechai shemisha ochal pas habo bikisone b'shachris besoch hakofi. Cup of coffee, they used to dip the cake in the coffee, right? Chiyotze Moshe ono nogim b'chol yemos hashono aval pi she'eno mevorach hamotzi. One doesn't say possible b'kisone. It's cake, different types, whether it's a pie or whether it's a mixture of, the Mechaber says, there's sugar and nuts and fruit mixed in. It's all intermingled in the dough. Right? It's a question what exact possible b'kisonim. Is it a kiss? It's like a pocket. You have bread and it's like baked, and there's meat or fruit in there, or vegetable pie, whatever it is. That's possible. Or no. It's intermingled in the dough itself. You have all the other ingredients. Since you're not eating a volume which people would consider a kvius, why? Nevertheless, you have to eat in the sukkah. Why? This is the Maimon Mordechai. Look, you're having a Danish with a cup of coffee. So even though in volume it's not, but that's your breakfast. You hear this? And the minig is, you say leisha basukah. Because that's called kaveh suda. People, that's what they have, a cup of coffee and a piece of cake, that's the breakfast. V'nokad milsa d'shchicho, duadin afil below shtiyas coffee. Even if one doesn't have the cup of coffee with the cake. Kevin the kaveh sudosu ala paski sonim, dim lo kaveh sudosi olav raksha ochel yosem irbeyo. But let's say it's not, he doesn't consider that's his breakfast. Just having a piece of cake, because he feels like having a piece of cake. Even if he's eating more than two kazaysim, yesh deis be'achromim tzorch levorach leisha basukah. Ein shari Chovos HaLevavos l'nishabsu yom tiv b'boker. Now, he says something interesting. Now, we have to have kiddush mokum suda. Kiddush mokum suda. What's mokum suda? If you eat a kazayas of mizonos, that's mokum suda. During the week, a kazayas is not called a kvius. Correct? But since Shabbos, it gives the kiddush a value, so within a halachic context, that's called a suda. Therefore, we differentiate Shabbos and Yom Tov and during the what? During the weekday. During the weekday doesn't have any special value. Shabbos and Yom Tov, the lesser volume takes on a special value. Even though he's not going to continue eating the meal, he's going to take a break. There's going to be a hefsek. There's no. Everybody agrees. Shabbos and Yom Tov, even though you're eating the smaller volume, you say leisha basuka. The kevan sheochel also b'torah suda tzricha lekiddush, since it takes on the value of kiddush makom suda. It's classified as suda. Shabbator shivorch b'suka. The machshavto mashid lekeva, because one's mindset of what it is, the bechol ein kadai levorach, but during the week not. The sovi brochs lokel. Even if you eat a smaller amount, person goes and has a piece of cake, one does say, even during the week. So now he says, but since you see it's a very serious argument here, so to extricate yourself from the question of brochel v'atola, after you finish eating, you shouldn't leave the sukkah immediately. You go eat your cake and coffee and leave immediately. And you have a mind, and you remain a little bit longer. And you should have a mind when you say leishiv basukah al achilo val yeshivo sha'achazeh. It's the eating, and I'm going to stay a little bit longer. He says, then you're relieving yourself from all these questions. You don't have the question any longer. Okay, let's see. No, you should stay a little bit. So then you shouldn't say the bracha. Then you should not say the bracha. Longer than you would have normally stayed. Normally, say you finish eating, you say bracha achrona, you leave. It's another few minutes. Linger doesn't mean you're staying there for half an hour. Another 5 minutes. Let me ask you a question. I don't know what kind of restaurant you go to. They say they'll come and say, "Excuse me, you finished?" What about the moment you finish benching? They tell you, "Could you please leave?" What are you talking about? They don't pay, the second you leave, you run out. They don't expect that. Yeah, they don't want you to sit around the schmooze for 20 minutes. So you mean if they give you a toothpick, you're supposed to get up from the table and clean your teeth while you're walking out the door, right? What? Okay. You get the 30% discount in that restaurant. Okay. Otherwise, they don't give you the discount unless you leave immediately after you finish eating. I saw it go down your gullet out now. Okay.